Hello everyone, I'm Ilavarasan, Assistant Professor of English, CPA College. Today we are going to discuss the very beautiful poem. The name of the poem, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening, written by Robert Frost. Before I'm starting this poem, I want to tell you about something Robert Frost. He was born in 1874, is one of the most popular American poets. He wrote in traditional forms using the plain speech of the New England farmer. Most of his poems deals with the landscape and the rural life of New England. Using simple metaphors, his poems often move into transcendental level. The lyric and the narrative are his chief forms. His poetry is well known for its simplicity of language and graceful style. Frost had wide reading public and won numerous prizes. Now let's start this poem with the explanation. There are four stanzas in the poem and each stanza consists four lines. The speaker in the poem is traveling at night through the snow and passes, with his horse near the woods by a neighbor's house to watch the snow falling around him. His horse sags his harness bells, questioning the pass. Perhaps this place is not on their usual route, or he is curious that there does not appear to be a farmhouse nearby. The speaker continues to stand near the woods, attracted by the deep, dark silence of his surroundings. He feels compelled to move further into a snowy woods, but he ultimately decides to continue, concluding with perhaps the most famous lines of the poem. But I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. Now we are going to discuss the poem in stanza wise. The first line of the poem is, whose woods these are? I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. In this first stanza, the poet is saying, the narrator riding his little horse suddenly stops by a forest to see it filling up with snow. The narrator is fascinated by the scene. He knows that the forest belongs to a man whose house is in the nearby village. Now let's see second stanza. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. In the second stanza, the poet is saying the narrator's horse must be buzzed by his action, stopping though there is no farmhouse anywhere near is very strange. The weather is unpleasant, the lake is frozen, and the evening is darkening. Now let's see third stanza. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flag. Third stanza, the poet is saying, the horse shakes its harness bells as if to ask whether the narrator has stopped by some mistake. The only other sound is the region is that of the wind hissing and the soft snowflakes breaking. Then we start fourth stanza and it is also the last stanza of the poem. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. In this last stanza, the poet is saying the narrator decides to go away. The woods are beautiful, but he cannot stay here any longer, for he has to travel a long distance before reaching home and settling down to a quiet sleep. Now, this poem has been completed, and we will have critical analysis of this poem in the next session. Thank you.